Fade in.
I need a username. And I have a great one. Little Kid Lover. That way people will know exactly where my priorities are at.
By the way, he gave me permission to touch him.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
How dare you?
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us.
This is the first time that we see a woman, and the first time that we see a black woman in this area and this world.
But Mrs. Kennedy, Bambi's a baby deer.
Baby deer, put a chick in it, make her gay.
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
No, God!
The power of one!
And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken
Power of two.
If you don't like it, don't watch it. Peace.
The power of many.
It counts as a disability where a video game like Elden Ring is concerned if you have a kid. You have a 2-year-old, you're trying to play Elden Ring, you can't pause. It is a situational disability that you have.
You think that I'm retarded?
Sexism in gaming.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
No trial, no nothing.
The games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid mother.
F***ing pronouns! F***ing gender ambiguity! You serious?
Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists.
Serious crap!
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come. You keep doing that, no one up here is gonna call you Donald Trump anymore. We're gonna call you Donald Duck.
Weird.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that, Hassan Piker? I'm coming to kill you in Los Angeles at your house. Or in the ring? No, in real life.
Hey guys, sorry, I had massive technical difficulties. I have no idea what the hell happened there. I started everything and then all of a sudden, one thing froze and then all of a sudden everything else is frozen. So we are restarting from scratch. I have no idea if I'm even on Rumble at the moment because stream keys and all that cool stuff. So just bear with me for 1 second. This is terrible. Like, holy crap. Much as I love using Streamlabs, this is the stuff that happens. It's fine, I can just take them to practice tomorrow. Oh, wait, they both have practice tomorrow? What time? Oh my god. Alright, well that sucks. Oh, it's a Monday, everybody. Monday from hell, apparently. It's so funny because I was commenting on... Let me turn down the music, hang on a second. There we go. I was commenting on essentially how I felt like I was the only person on the planet who didn't take Labor Day off because of the fact that it's like I'm self-employed basically, so if I don't get that work done, who's gonna do it for me? And you know, it's I lament it from time to time given the fact that it's like Mondays already suck for me, so if I don't go to work on Monday, it's gonna get even worse. But even though I went today, I'm like, dude, it still sucked. I swear to God, this is unbearable. If it's not one thing, it's another. I was even proud of myself, guys. I had the stream going early. I was ready to go at like 9:25. I have no idea what the hell happened, but I had my music app operating in the background. It wouldn't stop, wouldn't turn off, and then all of a sudden Streamlabs just freaking closed on me, so many apologies. Hey, Vivian James, how's it going? Or should I just call you Aura? I'll just call you Aura. We'll go with that one. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on, because I'm getting messages from my previous stream that are just now loading, but it's no longer active. I don't know, guys. I apologize. This is not the way I wanted to start. I had everything lined up. I was ready to go, and then all hell broke loose, apparently, so it is what it is. I just got to do some quick housekeeping real quick. In the meantime, if you haven't signed up, I've got the instant gaming giveaway going again for this next month. So the previous winner picked, looks like Black Myth Wukong on Steam. Fantastic choice. And then, of course, the next one ends in 27 days. So use the link down below and get on that. Because, again, there's literally no cost to you. You just have to have an account on Instant Gaming. And if you win, you can pick any key on the website that you want to use. Okay, I think I'm almost done here. Hang on a second. What else we got? Let's make sure I have the proper tags on YouTube. Again, I think Rumble is completely shot. I don't even think we're live on Rumble now at this point, which sucks, but it is what it is. How are you doing, Desert? Appreciate you for being here. We had NS and Austin in the chat a few minutes ago before this whole thing just was all shot to shit. Hopefully they hop back in here. Alright, well, it's going to have to be good enough. It's going to have to do for now. Well, okay, so it's the weirdest thing. Normally, I don't have these problems with Streamlabs. I don't tend to have too many problems with anything crashing on my computer, to be honest. But, hey guys, let me know if the music's too loud. I wanted to have it in the background, but not if it's, like, overpowering my microphone. But yeah, so I had the music. The Streamlabs Pretzel Rocks app hasn't been working with my Stream Deck lately. So I was trying to hit pause on the music so I could go to my intermission thing. And for whatever reason, the freaking thing, like, wouldn't turn off. So I opened up Pretzel Rocks on Streamlabs with my mouse, and it just won't even open the app. And all of a sudden, the entire thing just drops. It just completely shuts down. So I have no idea. Oh, you've been driving back and forth from Arizona to Oklahoma. The two places that I've visited in the last year, either of which I wouldn't mind living, to be honest. I actually enjoyed my time in both. Very different places, but both very enjoyable. But yeah, Squall, unfortunately it did, but it's all good. We're back now. Nah, NS, this was a Streamlabs situation. Oh, the move is done. That is fantastic news, Desert. That is awesome. Let's try this again. We'll try putting another poll back up and seeing how long that lasts. Also, if you guys are in the need for a PC, I'm sure you're all sick and tired of me saying it, but just go check out Meta PCs if you're actually needing a PC. I know, who was it on the live stream on Friday said that they actually got theirs from Meta PC. I feel like it wasn't you, Burner, it was somebody else, but yeah, it sounds like they're loving theirs. So, again, just go check them out. I know that they're a little bit on the pricier side of things. But when you're ready to get a PC, those guys are fantastic. They're awesome dudes. Not even kidding. Like really cool dudes. All right, so I think we're just going to go ahead and get on with the first story. Let me go full screen so we can all talk about it. Yeah, Squall, I've got my stories pulled up. It's just, unfortunately, the stream just crapped out. And the issue is because Rumble, which I like to multi-stream to both on Fridays and Mondays, Rumble, I'm not using a static stream key. It generates a new one every time you go live, which is cool for security. It's bad for the fact that if your stream closes, you have to go generate a new stream key on the Rumble side of things. So also what I'm going to be doing, hopefully in the near future, when I have a little bit more time, is I'm going to be streaming to my podcast channel, hopefully using Rumble Studio instead of like OBS or Streamlabs. And then, yeah, I can multi-stream to YouTube and Twitter both. It'll be interesting. Based on God, I'm expecting, hoping for more success. Hey, NS, you know, dude, I honestly, I didn't have any aspirations or dreams of having like a huge audience at any point. So I have to count my blessings, dude, because the reality is you know, a couple of years ago, if I'd imagined I had a video that'd have like 1,000 views, I would have been over the moon. Now, if I have a video that gets less than 10,000 views, I start questioning, okay, thumbnail, topic, substance of the video, bad time as far as uploading. So, you know, I'm just trying to take everything one thing at a time. I don't want to overthink any of this stuff. Switch or a Steam Deck? Hell yeah. Pronoun is shit. They want a wired network in the house. What are we talking about? We're talking about, I mean, I like to have everything plugged into my network. Don't get me wrong. I have my computer plugged directly into the router. I think I have the kid's Xbox plugged into the router too. I might have even plugged my wife's computer on that side of the living room with the extra long cable into the router. I mean, I just like having the constant internet connection. I know Wi-Fi is reliable and all that good shit, but like, honestly, I like to just make sure it's all plugged in. So, I'm sure you guys have all heard by now that Suicide Squad essentially killed off a couple dozen jobs over at Rocksteady. What I find funny, though, what I want to kind of cover tonight, is the fact that there is some serious coping going on by people like Paul Tassi over at Forbes. We all remember, I'm sure, that Jason Schreier decided to go interview the staff at Rocksteady, and he assured everyone that, you know, Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement had nothing to do with the overall outcome of the game, right? Buy Skyrim for the kids when they get older? All right, I'll do that. Hey, they want me to pick up Hogwarts Legacy, even though I'm telling them, like, I know it's on sale, I know it's only $18 on Steam, but you guys, like, my oldest kid's 11, he's not even quite 12 yet, they're not really RPG type, you know, players when it comes to, like, how they play games. I don't know. Hey, Alekwiz, good morning. Guten Morgen, wie geht es Ihnen? Hey, Hunter. Good to see you, though, dude. Let's see. The new urban myth is if you say DEI is good 3 times while looking in a mirror, an apparition of Larry Fink will appear smiling and give you a thumbs up. I don't think I'm going to try that one. So, Desert, here's my thing. I've been kind of like pondering this back and forth. I know that there's a lot of like controversial opinions, a lot of Hogwarts can be modded. Dude, I'm such a boomer. I don't even mod my games. I modded like 2 games, okay? I know there's a lot of like very, let's just say, controversial takes, a lot of hot takes on who you blame. You blame the executives, you blame the developers. It's easy to point the finger at Sweet Baby Inc., right? It's easy to point the finger at the consultation firms and say, they're the ones that did it. Vielen Dank. Ah, sehr gut. What is bestens? Is that like saying Danke? Bestens. My German teacher never taught me that expression. But you know, the reality is, when it comes to these studios and these games, I'm at this point, and I know this may be a controversial take, where I just want to put the blame solely on the developers. The people behind the scenes who actually had decided, I'm going to make this game, it's going to have the characters, they're going to look like X, Y, and Z, and you know, we're just going to put it out there. At some point, don't the developers have to be, I guess, responsible for the final product that comes out? I get that there's quotas that they have to meet, and again, that's based on diversity initiatives that are put in by, you know, whether it's human resources or whoever is in charge of their DEI department. But at some point, it's like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure, the consultation firms were hired by the companies, 100%. But the consultation companies aren't the ones actually coding the software and developing and doing the 3D modeling of the characters, you know? So it's just, I'm torn on who you can put the blame on. The fact that they're trying to point the blame at the executives in this situation and say, no, it's the fact that they made it a live service game. That's what killed this game. Okay, I think that's one reason, you know? And the executives who hired SBI are to blame. Saying you in Korean sounds like the N-word. Oh, God. Well, be careful how you type that out. Yes, it is all the upper management that greenlit it. I don't know, guys. It's kind of like, if you know something's bad, if you know something's illegal or immoral, and you're working for a company that's doing it anyways, and you just kind of go along with it, you're complicit on some level, right? I mean, let's just talk about games like Dustborn. Is there anybody at the studio that made Dustborn, as far as developers, forget the consultation thing. I mean, I saw that Dustborn actually had an interview with Black Girl Gamers. I don't necessarily know beyond that development agency, the digital development agency, DDA. I don't know who else they might have consulted with on how to make that game more woke. But if we just look at the studio alone, at Red Thread Games, and the way that Dustborn was written, the way that the characters were created, the art style, the gameplay, the storyline, I mean, who would you put the blame on there? Because at some point you have to say even the developers are complicit in the fact that they made such a disgustingly woke, generically bad Tumblr art looking game that you can't just blame the executives for that. You can't just blame the consultation firms, right? The execs are responsible for bringing in entities like SBI, and the devs, while not having much power, are still pretty compliant. I mean, I just feel like at some point there's some complicity from the developers themselves. And I get it, they're put between a rock and a hard place, but a lot of these guys, if you follow the conversations that happen on Twitter, and I know Twitter's not a real place. I say it all the time, the internet's not a real place. But if you follow the conversation from developers themselves, a lot of these developers have bought into the woke crap. And that's my point about the developers being complicit. There are so many people who are like, oh, you know, the video game industry is filled with left-wing, you know, developers and stuff, so we're the majority. At some point, you have to take them at their word. If most of the developers, or at least 60% of developers, are cool with the left-wing ideology that's being pushed in video games, which is permeated into basically every nook and cranny of entertainment, you have to believe them when they tell you who they are, right? I don't know. We are the newborn, we're the new porn. Imagine somebody pointed out, putting those two words in the same rhyming sequence, newborn and yeah. I mean, that's just that. Forget bad rhymes. That's just really, really, really awkward phrasing, you know? But yeah, every one of those AAA developers are happy making the slop they're making. They think they're heroes. Right, so on one level, you could say that the issue of AAA gaming being what it is separate from AAA gaming being infected with the woke, you know, mind viruses, I know Elon Musk likes to call it. Because the fact is, again, live service, microtransactions, these are all things that have happened separate from all the DEI crap in gaming. I don't think one necessarily is connected to the other. I mean, it could be on some level. But at what point do you say that the microtransactions are bad? But again, it's completely like a separate topic from the DEI stuff. Code Vein? Dude, that's been on my list for forever. There are so many lists on my list. So, real quick summary, because Eurogamer is the one that reported this first. Rocksteady staff have told Eurogamer of redundancies at the studio following the underperformance of Suicide Squad. Now, here's the weird part. When you hear that that it is following redundancies at the studio, that means obviously we all know what a redundancy is. You've got too many people doing the same job and you don't need them to be doing that job. If the game was successful and they were planning future seasons, they wouldn't have that problem. But the funny part is the fact that they went after the quality assurance department. It says the QA department has seen its size almost cut in half over the past month, and it's gone from 33 team members to 15, with poor sales of Suicide Squad directly cited as the reason for its restructuring. So, okay, if they've discovered that you can get 10 people that are far more intelligent, far better at their job to do the quality assurance checks over the 33 people you had before, I see that as a win. This might not even be a bad move for Rocksteady. This actually could be a step in the right direction. You say, these 33 people were obviously very bad at their job. I don't know, just saying. Hope no one has forgotten the absolute meltdown of these devs at the success of Elden Ring and Power World. NS, one of my first videos since I started like moving my channel content around was about the hairstyle controversy in video games, and about how, you know, this whole story that Elden Ring got shit on about, what was it, 2 years ago now? Because of the fact that they didn't offer enough black hairstyles. You guys remember that, right? Elden Ring got crapped on by the mainstream media because, oh, it's a great game. It's very playable. It's you know, it's the best thing since Dark Souls 3 or whatever. But there's not enough black hairstyles in the game. There's not enough options for hair. And they tried to tank that game over lack of representation via not enough hairstyles. Yeah, Rocksteady has QA apparently. So HR hired the DEI devs, mostly all female, the dev managers that fostered the team in its DEI direction, the community manager who hired the DEI consulting company. It's the whole company top to bottom. That's kind of how I feel about it, Desert. That's the thing. I don't know how people can just solidly put the blame on executives like these journalists are trying to do. That's what Paul Tassi over here. I know Paul Tassi sucks, okay. Space puns and Animal Crossing hairstyle. Dude, oh, space buns. Yeah, dude, honest to God, that was that's back before I really started like hammering the games journalists. That was a couple years back. I was reading that article, watching people make videos about it, going, what is wrong with these journalists? That this is the thing that they have to focus on the most in a game that is, you know, inarguably one of the best games to come out in the last 5 years. Certainly for that year, I think it won Game of the Year, which again is kind of irrelevant. These award shows are crap. But the thing you're gonna, you know, try to like take a point off, make it 9 out of 10 is because there's not enough representation via hairstyles. Absolutely mind-blowing. So, over at Forbes, because we all know Paul Tassi is a lunatic, he says that Rocksteady reportedly starts layoffs after Suicide Squad killed the Justice League's failure. Now, the funny thing in this article is he bemoans how, unfortunately, you know, Suicide Squad just is underperformed, and these poor people, I mean, I get it. One person got laid off, apparently on paternity leave. That sucks. I can't imagine that, like, that would really suck. But he had to know it was coming. I can't imagine that he wouldn't know it was coming. So this article says that the Suicide Squad game was considered one of the biggest AAA failures in a generation, given its huge cost and extremely low player base shortly after launch. And remember, this game allegedly lost Warner Brothers like $200 million. It may have just been surpassed by PlayStation's Concord, another hugely expensive venture that debuted with under 107... I can't speak, guys. I'm loaded on caffeine right now. Debuted with under 700 players on Steam. Suicide Squad had a terrible, at the time, 13,000 concurrents. God, put those in comparison. Think about it. So, Suicide Squad, which is now an abysmal failure. In fact, I think I've got... Do I have the Steam numbers brought up here? Let me check. I actually didn't grab the Steam chart numbers. So we got Concord here, and I'll just kind of tease this for later. Concord is down to 58 players currently, guys. I mean, that's... Oh my god. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League currently has 67. Holy crap, how do you go from 13,000 to 67 players? Okay. So yeah, 13,000 concurrent, all the way down to under 100. But the live game now currently in Season 2 of content is not breaking 100 players most of the time on PC and is obviously not selling on console. Well, that's the thing, they say obvious, but there's a lot of people trying to say that these games have sold like 10,000 or 15,000 copies on like PlayStation, and the numbers aren't adding up. We talked about this in the video I put out last night about how they're saying that Concord sold 25,000 copies, 15,000 on PlayStation, but the achievements that have been unlocked for getting your first kill is at like 97% among like 1,200 players. So unless there's literally like 13,000 people who haven't gotten a kill, or who haven't even played the game on PlayStation after buying it, there's just no way that there's 15,000 people on Sony, on PlayStation, playing that game. So it says here, many have wondered why Suicide Squad is continuing live development at all, but it appears there's some ongoing promise to get out at least the first year of content to players, where Season 3 brings Zoe Lawton to the game and Season 4 has Deathstroke. There are also heavy hints that Rocksteady's OG Batman will be resurrected and continue to have a role in the story that is now going nowhere. Oh good, so they've already killed Batman once, Harley put a bullet through his brains, and now they're going to allegedly revive him and bring him back to life just to kill him again, I guess. The layoffs may be expected, but they are still maddening given that it's Q&A that's suffering, when it was reportedly studio leadership that pushed for the live Suicide game to a point where even the devs at the company were baffled by some of the choices. But as is usually the case in the industry, leadership only rarely pays the price for heading in the wrong direction. Now, I'll be fair. Yeah, I got my free Amazon Prime copy too, but I still decided it was way too large to install. Not worth the disk space. I'll be fair and say yes, a lot of times in corporate America, with executives of like, you know, Fortune 500 companies and big, you know, conglomerates and shit, I'm not a fan. Look, I'm a capitalist, or I believe in the free market, the fair trade and all that good stuff, right? So I don't want anything like impeding economic growth or businesses being able to make money. But the reality is there is a certain level of corporate greed that goes beyond what we can consider capitalism, and it's what essentially gives the word, capitalism kind of a bad name. And a lot of these guys, especially like in economic downturns, when there's like government bailouts and shit, they get their golden parachutes. They leave the company with $35 million in retirement, and everyone else is out of a job. So I'm not saying that executives don't. It's not an unfair deal to everybody under the executive level, but there's a certain amount of, like I said, culpability that the developers themselves, the people that actually created this game, have to be willing to accept. And unfortunately, places like Forbes are just going to point at the executives and say, oh yeah, it's them, it's the studio leadership that ruined it because they pushed for a live service game and, reasons. And of course, it's not Sweet Baby Inc., right? Learning the Law pointing out that experts like the fake Jason Schreier, who ironically has me blocked, and I've never even really interacted with the dude, have, tried to defend them, saying it wasn't Sweet Baby Inc., right? Claim that Rocksteady's downfall had nothing to do with ideology. Okay, I guess let's take a look at their offices. And of course, I remember seeing this back then, earlier this summer. The Pride 2024 celebrations as part of Outmaking Games for Rocksteady Studios. And this is just like, this is commonplace now. If you look at most places, even games from independent developers do this kind of stuff for Pride Month. And I know it's happening less and less, but it's still a thing, unfortunately. Try it before it's gone. Well, you think they're going to pull it off of Amazon? Oh, you're right. If they discontinue the service, we won't be able to play it. Can I play Code Vein for next live? Well, Aura, the problem is I got too many games to go through. There's too many. There was a Black VTubers award that existed. Aura, the thing is, like, especially with... And this is not an anti-Black, anti-minority thing. This is I despise the race politics, the racial... preference, and this is what happens with DEI. It essentially creates more racism by saying, oh no, these poor underprivileged groups, which again is kind of a racist thing to think, need to be held up, and then everyone else feels like that. Why are they getting a unfair advantage when I'm doing the same work they are or more, but because I'm white I can't get that job, So it just creates more racial division. But yeah, we've seen this with Twitch, we see this with Streamlabs, who I use for streaming, all that shit. And the reality is, it's like every one of these times that they have a Black this, a Latinx that, an LGBT this, it's like, why are you singling out people based on their skin tone or how they, identify as far as gender or sexual orientation? It should be whether they're a good entertainer or not. It should be whether or not they have something intelligent to offer, something creative, something that's actually has an audience. Because if you look at the comments when Twitch goes on social media and posts this crap about their drag queen performer of the month and they're going to be featured on the Twitch channel, this and that, and you go to their live stream and there's only like 130 people there because there's no audience for it. There's the perception on platforms like Twitch that there's the audience for that kind of content. But nobody really shows up, just in the same way that nobody buys these games. Like Spider-Man. Exactly, Spider-Man's at the top of my list of my backlog, The capitalism by itself is perfect anyway, but until a better alternative pops up, it's the only viable system we've got. Well, so the thing about that, yeah, exactly. If we could all live on the barter system, that would be great, And then again, some people would be better at bartering than others. And then supply and demand dictates that if you have better items to barter than everybody else, they're going to be willing to give you, better items in return. Hey, Ryan, how's it going? You got nothing to be proud for, you go woke. Dude, I was so irritated because I love Valheim. Absolutely love Valheim as a game. I put hundreds of hours into Valheim. I'm still not done with it yet. I probably won't be done with my first world playthrough ever. It's probably going to go on forever and ever if they keep updating that game. But they're one of those games that back a couple years ago, because I follow them on some social media account, they start posting about, Vikings of all genders and Vikings of all LGBT backgrounds. And I'm like, you guys are you're an indie developer. You make a really good game. I get it. It's trendy. It's cool to kind of hyperfixate on this kind of crap. But really, can we not? Can we just have our Viking game? Hey, Moxie, 1000 Men, how's it going? Chad Barter System Enjoyer from Unga Bunga. Hey, Words of Paradise, how's it going, dude? You know what's funny? I don't know how to raid channels on YouTube. I have no idea, or I don't even know if they call them raids on YouTube. I've seen people do it. When I'm watching like WDW Pro's live show, they'll do that and send people to like that park place or that game place. But I don't know how to do that shit. I have no idea. Disabled people wouldn't be able to barter though. What do we do with those? Well, that's not true. Being disabled doesn't mean you wouldn't have a craft. Doesn't mean you wouldn't have some skill that you were good at. I mean, there's, I don't know. If you're disabled like in your feet, but you can use your hands, or if you have, again, there are people. I just watched a video of some girl in the Special Olympics where they call them is it the Paralympics? I can't remember. She was firing a bow and arrow with no arms with her feet and hit the bullseye from like 100 yards out. So by gaming at Green Dragon, it's a really in-depth look into the way they operate. I'll have to look that one up. Oh yeah, Bandai Namco's screwed, dude. The funny thing is that the dude from, what was it, Metal Gear Solid, or was it a different game, came out and said, oh, this DEI stuff is nonsense. That's not happening. And it's like, dude, it literally is. Like, there might have been a translation error, but it 100% is. Like, Bandai Namco says it on their own freaking website. I thought there was actually a raid function. Differently abled, yeah. No, I think that even in a barter system, somebody who's disabled would find a way, or again, the ideal scenario is that everybody has a support system. And this is honestly one of these things. It's a completely off topic, but a lot of times what results in homelessness is the fact that you don't have somebody to fall back on, especially with addiction, gambling, alcoholism, all that kind of stuff. It's the lack of a family structure. And again, destroying the family structure goes back to all this Marxist crap in general. So it's called redirect. That's what it is. Yeah. But again, I don't know how to do it. I know the word now, but I still don't know how to do it. Well, I used to be pretty savvy with all this kind of stuff. But, oh, NS, I'm going to be on Moxie's channel help me out, Moxie. Is it the 23rd? Are we doing it on the 23rd? I can't remember. It's a Monday. So that night, guys, I'm going to be live on her channel between 9, I think we set it for 9:30, but I'll try to be on earlier because she usually streams at like 8. But I'll try to be on like closer to 9 if possible. But yeah, so we're going to be on her channel instead of being over here. So make sure you go follow her. And that way, when I go live over there, you can hop in the chat and say hi to both of us. That Olympic short, oh, dude, it was awesome. Yeah, or knowledge, but the problem is then you have to have knowledge to share. So yeah, basically, Jason Schreier is a cuck. Okay, so we're scheduled for 9:23 at 9:30 p.m. All right. I think Moxie would give up her... Exactly, I was about to say, I think she'd give up the 19th if it meant smarter decisions to be made. So I didn't want to speak for you, but if we repeal the 19th, people are going to be speaking for you, so you better get used to it. See, guys, I'm not even in the repeal the 19th camp, not because I can't recognize that the world would be better if less people who vote for insanity were voting. I just think that ship has sailed. I think at this point now, barking about repealing the 19th isn't going to accomplish anything. Do I understand the message behind it? Yes, but I'm a man. I'm a guy. So I can 100% understand that. I don't have to worry about having my vote taken away. Although a lot of people say, hey, what about like landowners? And I'm like, well, I can't buy land because the prices are so jacked up. So basically I wouldn't get a vote at all. So let's see, behind the Suicide Squad, the year's biggest video game flop. Why did I have Bloomberg brought up? Oh, this is the Jason Schreier article, but he's got it paywalled. Okay. So we were talking about Jason Schreier, and yes, again, going back to him, his entire thing was, oh no, it's not Sweet Baby Inc. that ruined it. It is the live service, all these other production issues. Let you daydream. You know, Hunter, like I said, I'm not opposed to the entire idea behind the Repeal the 19th movement. I just don't think it's beneficial to even have that conversation right now. Yeah, you can report me for Talibanism, but I don't have too many kind things to say about them either. Look, I know that Lord Miles, if you guys don't follow him, he's freaking hilarious on Twitter. He goes over to Afghanistan and he gets along with the Taliban great, and they treat him really well, and that's cool. I don't want to live with the Taliban. I don't want to live anywhere near people like that. Find a Wayback Archive of that article. I'll look for it later. I'm not too worried about what Jason Schreier has to say. Yes, but are you transracial or transgender? Because there's a big difference. I am transracial, but I could never be transgender because I'm a lesbian. Again, going back to the involvement of companies like Sweet Baby Inc., I think it is really funny, though, if you look at some of their most, biggest flops. People don't even think about Spider-Man 2, guys. Here's the funny thing about Spider-Man 2. Hey, Bush McFadden, I'm pretty sure I've seen you in Moxie's chat before. Welcome in. Yeah, you'll be arrested in the UK for having a butter knife at this point. If you guys don't remember, Spider-Man 2, as far as I know, don't quote me on this, hasn't even made money yet. So people focus on Suicide Squad because it cost Warner Brothers $200 million, and now they're closing down half the studio and everything else. Okay. Capes was a small budget game as far as I know, so that one failing is not that big of a deal. Alan Wake 2 still hasn't made its money back either. That's a much, bigger deal, I'd say, than Capes. But people forget about the fact that Spider-Man 2, as much as it was praised by the media, I don't even know, is it even sitting at mixed, I think, right now on the Steam reviews? Trans species. Oh, dude, no, you don't want to be half dolphin. No. I've seen some freaky dolphin videos. You don't want to go there. Why are dolphins so freaky? That's what I want to know. I've seen a few videos of dolphins getting frisky with people. Like there was one beach, I saw a video a little bit ago, where there was a dolphin that was harassing people on the beach where they all had to run up onto the shore because it was trying to hump 30 different people. Bad sequels ruin the originals for you. Mary Jaw, yeah. That goes back to that Crimson Chin, unfortunately. See, like Hunter will point out, Grassroots there, he gifted me a copy of Spider-Man 1, of Marvel's Spider-Man, that I have not even installed yet. Yeah, I was seeing that it was over 300 million also because of the amount of wasted, bloat on the game. Okay, so it's not on Steam yet. Interesting. So we're not going to have any way of knowing for sure. Welcome in, Intrinsic. Good to see you back. Dolphins love white women. Oh my god. Well, that might be true, NS, but honestly, I don't identify as dolphin, even if that's true. Hey, R2. Good to see you in here, buddy. Minimal effort, dude. That's what I'm going to go by from now on. I'm sorry that I keep changing the name on the channel, guys. I'm going to leave it alone for a while until I'm happy with it. But I'm just going to, kind of ride it out for a while and see how it goes. The whole freaking podcast channel, too. I have big plans for that other channel. And one day, maybe this winter when work slows down, I can actually do something with it. In the meantime, it's just going to kind of be occasional uploads over there. So let's jump from Sweet Baby Inc. and the shit show that was Suicide Squad over to Concord, because there's some really funny shit about Concord that came out today that I cannot believe is real. But apparently, somehow it has slipped through the cracks. So we were talking about before about how Concord may have sold as few as 25,000 copies, it's claimed. Again, I don't know how it's less than that, or it's more than 25,000, because of the fact that there's only 1,200 people on PlayStation who've gotten their first kill. Again, that would leave 13,500 copies of the game that haven't even been played or installed yet, or people who haven't gotten their first kill yet, which seems insane. The game's great, it just feels like a dead-end story now going back. Are we talking about Spider-Man, or are we talking about, were you actually playing Suicide Squad? Because to me, again, Hunter, I'm sorry, I've told you before, I don't find superhero games interesting. So for me, I'd probably be bored after 10 minutes. No, 25,000 seems way too high, words. It just seems unrealistically high. Hey, NS, thanks for the gifted membership. Appreciate it, dude. Dude, because honestly, think about it. Less than 100 people playing it on Steam. Hell, I brought it up before. We're currently sitting at, let's go back to Concord. 57 people playing it right now. All-time peak of 697. There is no freaking way that between that and the 1,200 people who are playing it on PlayStation, that the game has sold 25,000 copies that haven't been touched yet. That's again, imagine wasting $40 or $60 on a game in the first week that it came out and not even playing it. It just doesn't seem realistic. It seems completely unrealistic to me. But again, some people buy games and never play them. I get it. Some people have money for the win, for the win. Reading Ryan's chat here. Oh, you're talking about Spider-Man? Yeah. I don't know. It just seems unrealistic. Support your favorite SoundCloud rapper. Dude, I've got somebody. Thanks for the 2, by the way, words. Appreciate it, buddy. I've got this kid that I've known for a while. He's graduated high school now and shit. So really nice young guy. He's over in Michigan. And so I met him through playing Apex when I was streaming on Twitch a couple years back. It's been like 5 years now. So I've kind of been like a mentor, I guess. I don't know. I don't even talk with him that much anymore. But he decided he was going to be like a SoundCloud rapper. And he made the strangest, funniest shit. I'm talking, he had this song called Chicken in Your Butt. And I'm talking, this thing was retarded and hilarious all at the same time. I gotta find it. I'll play it for you guys sometimes. Try to pump his numbers up a little bit. Did you ever play the Alliance games or X-Men Legends? No, I just didn't find, I don't know. I feel, this is gonna sound really stupid, guys. This is gonna sound really freaking lame. But I feel like the Marvel Lego games ruined superhero games for me. Because when my kid was like really little, I bought him the one of the Lego Marvel games because he wanted to play Lego games. Okay. And I played it with him and it bored the hell out of me. And it for whatever reason, it has forever tainted my perception of superhero games where I'm just not interested. I just don't want to play them. So maybe I just got to rip the Band-Aid off at some point and actually like download Spider-Man and play it. Look like Jacksepticeye if he had testosterone. You know, honestly, I don't know what Jacksepticeye looks like. Visions of Mana reviewed well, but unfortunately, aren't they closing down the studio? That's what I heard, at least. That's what Very Dark was talking about. Testosterone. Yeah, that testosterone is what's burning a hole in my head here. I've got that receding hairline, man. I've heard that too much testosterone will do that to you. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta actually try playing a real superhero game at some point. Dude, Streamlabs is so far behind. Appreciate you guys, though. So, let's move on here real quick. This is what I want to talk about. I'm sure a lot of you guys, because a lot of you guys are terminally online like I am on Twitter. This shit right here that Learning the Law posted that says PlayStation's latest agitprop game, Concord, officially confirms that Baz, who is, again, this is an artist rendition, obviously. Baz is this character right here, is apparently transgender. As if it wasn't bad enough. Okay? I hate superheroes, period. I do not hate superheroes. I was not a comic book fan growing up, okay? My mom didn't really want us into comic books, and she didn't really like the X-Men and mutants because she probably thought they were evil or taboo or something. I don't know. Demonic, maybe. I don't have a freaking clue. I watched Rambo when I was like 8 years old. Don't ask me. My childhood was really messed up, okay? But that being said, I grew up getting into like superhero movies, and then all the freaking Marvel movies going back all the way to the original Fox, like Spider-Man and X-Men. I've watched all of them. I love them all. They're all great up until the most recent 2 phases of Marvel. Writing an era of memes write themselves. Yeah. Uncle Ruckus, exactly. But it's Uncle Ruckus as Baz. Come on. I've heard 3 is good. I don't know. I wouldn't even know which ones those are, guys. Honestly, I see Marvel games, I see like X-Men games, and I just kind of tune out. So this is a character biography card that was unearthed through a website. And in fact, give me a second. I don't want to dox myself if something pops up. Let me open a separate tab real quick. Sometimes your name and all your emails pop up in the corner, and I'm like, what the hell? Okay, let me see. I had this earlier. Let me find it. It was from this article about South of Midnight that I was looking up. Yeah, guys, I missed out really bad on video views today because of the fact that I got up this morning, looked at my phone. It was like 6:30 this morning. I was not ready to be awake. And freaking Rocksteady's losing half their employees. I'm like, oh, God, I should make a video. And then I'm like, no, wait a second. I've got like 5 hours of sleep. I'm just going to stay in bed. I just couldn't make myself get up. Hang on a second. Where is this article at? It was from a website that I cannot remember the name of now. Damn. Well, oh well. We'll go back to what we were talking about. Anyways, back to Baz. Where are we at here? There we go. The shit show unfolding with Ubisoft. Yeah, I've been keeping track of it. Toby is best Spider-Man? Yeah, I agree. Ubisoft failing again. Yeah, honestly, I was gonna make a video talking about Star Wars Outlaws, but I feel like there's such redundancy talking about this shit right now, guys, because there's just not really anything new to say. It's like, I haven't played it. I have no intention of playing it. Other than pointing my finger at it and laughing at it, there's not a whole lot of new conversation to be had about it. The game sucks. It's like a 6 out of 10, according to most people's reviews, and that's pretty much it. Marvel did oversaturate the market, but for me, it's not just about Cape stuff. It's the fact that I just don't seem to enjoy playing Cape games. Maybe I'm the problem. maybe the issue is me. Okay, so here is this character biography card, right? Yeah, Squall. And you know, the thing is, so many of us are covering the same topics. Hey, by the way, I need to message John Trent over at That Park Place. I don't know what is up. He didn't make any videos today, and he didn't put out any articles. I saw WDW Pro. He covered and made one article this morning. But I should probably message John Trent and ask him if he's okay. Maybe he's just on vacation or something. But who knows? We'll see. Yeah, it is getting boring. Well, okay, so most of the interesting stuff to talk about, words, is not the game itself, not the failure that it is, but the shilling for it by the media, and of course the idiots on Twitter that are like that Mighty Queef guy, who I started calling Mighty Queef before anybody else did, mind you. Everybody's calling him Mighty Queef now, and I started it. I promise, I was the first one to start doing it. So, just saying. Just not your genre, nothing wrong. I know, Ryan, but I want to be able to enjoy a superhero game, and if I gave it a chance, I might actually play one. Like, I'd probably play a Batman game over a game about Spider-Man, to be honest, but we'll see. Hey, Oblivion. Yeah, I think Oblivion was the one that was telling me, Oblivion, you said you got a Meta PC, right? Or is it still somebody else? Who was here during my Friday game stream when I was playing Wukong that said they got a Meta PC at one point? Was Mercante up to this time? I don't know. Dude, unlike some people, and I have no problem with it because everyone's got their niche, I found it funny to cover Alyssa Mercante like months ago, and I'm sick and tired of seeing her. So I don't even like check in on her, you know? Can I pin your comment? Well, where's your comment at? Like the stream and subscribe. Oh, I can pin that one. Sure will. Let me see here. Well, I appreciate you putting that comment out there. You think it was someone else? I know Blithion's like, I think I would know if I had a Meta PC. Rough nickname to get saddled with her. Here's the thing. She could have gone with her actual name, which is Alyssa Merchant, but because she has Italian roots, which I hate to share with her because my grandfather was freaking Sicilian, born in the year 1900, came through Ellis Island in 1904 when he was a little boy. I'm talking like my grandfather was the freaking like American dream when it came down to it. So I hate sharing any cultural heritage with that woman. But she could just go by Alyssa Merchant, which I think is her actual name. But because she's Italiano, she likes to go by Mercanti. 2 brain cells left and they're both fighting for 3rd place. Yeah, good luck with that. They're going to fight to the death. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that, Oblivion. You're right. No way we're going to be taking a failed OnlyFans lady seriously. Dude, okay, so Mercante is my age-ish. She's in that mid-30s range. She wasn't doing OnlyFans, man. She was doing, like, you know, the webcam websites, which were more of a thing when I was, like, late teens, early 20s. I mean, I know they still exist, but this was before OnlyFans. This was like, oh, if you want to see a real-life, you know, naked woman, go to the webcam sites. And so I got a feeling that was, like, before she kind of hit her mid-30s, you know? Oh yeah, everyone calls her Mercanti, you know? It's an unfortunate situation for her that it does work so well to call her that. Mercontent. Oof. That's a fantastic way to put it, yeah. No, see, that's the thing, Squall. When she started talking about legal threats, I was like, okay, I have not doxed anybody. I don't harass anybody. I'm actually, despite how I like to post shit on Twitter, I don't post anything that could ever get me in legal trouble. So I had no issue. I'm like, I can still cover her if I want to. I won't cover her if I don't want to. I'm not afraid of legal threats because I haven't done a damn thing. I wasn't worried about any of that at all. Even Smash JT, he hasn't gone so far that I would say that he'd have any like legal concerns. Although he didn't dox her. I don't know who doxed her. Somebody made a website with her sister's name or some shit. Again, I don't condone any of that kind of stuff. I don't think any of that's okay. I do think a lot of the negative attention she intentionally brings upon herself in order to make herself the victim, the story, which again, I didn't go to journalism school. I've written some articles for John Del Rose for his website. I've done some articles on my own website. Journalism 101, don't make yourself the story. Mercante lives to make herself the story. That's why she's a terrible journalist. We should real name Melissa like a demon in D&D. She'll lose her powers. Yeah, exactly, Squall. I have no use for harassment or anything. It's like she blocked me, and it's like, yeah, once in a while I can go on an alt if I need to see like what she's saying, whatever. But most of the time, I don't even think to go even look at what she said. No, I know that she did that to Smash JT. I'm not saying that he did the other way around. And she contacted his wife and shit. Like it was all very sketchy behavior. Well, again, she makes herself the target words. That's the entire point. She exists to have this kind of attention. She has to make herself the story because no one will actually read her content. You are not wrong about that. All right, so let's talk about Baz, this horrific, frightening character. Baz was born into an inheriting generation of the Crescent Moon shipping empire. Already born. In the Crescent Moon, leadership is passed down every other generation through the male line. Baz's parents had groomed her from birth, pushing her to outshine her cousins and garner the attention of her grandfather, Don Lumen, leader of the Crescent Moon. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to skip to the part that actually matters, guys, because so much of this is like worthless exposition that does not matter. Hang on, let me unmute something. What are we doing here? I just realized that the super chat alert and the membership alert didn't come through, and that's because I have this muted, guys. I apologize for that. I did not do you guys justice. What she did isn't doxing, even though it was straight up wrong. Yeah, so here's the thing. Smash JT, Jeff. I know that people started using his last name in an attempt to go after him and expose him or whatever. That is wrong. But at some point also, if he has his first and last name listed attached to his YouTube channel, which I don't know that he does, there's a lot of gray area when it comes to doxing, guys. Unfortunately, I am not an expert on doxing. All I know is, in my mind, doxing is you're anonymous online. I go behind the scenes, look up your address, look up your physical address or your whatever, your place of work, and I post that information online for other people to see. That to me is like the very definition of doxing. Beyond that, anything that's like a soft dox or whatever, I think it's too much gray area to make a determination on, you know? Use big words like exposition. I can use big words sometimes, damn it. The glasses and coat are reminding you of something. Well, they're all hideous is what they are. Furthermore, we're gonna jump into a video real quick after this because there's a guy that's been breaking down these characters who's done a fantastic job. His videos are blowing up on YouTube. You guys have probably already seen this guy's videos. So she actually went through YouTube and found his address. Okay. Well, again, so much of it is like the back and forth of it that it's like, all right, I mean, every day it's a new thing and it's all sucks. It's all icky. But at some point, she's just not worth the attention. So here we go. It says there's no substitute for experience, and in short order, Baz had experience up and down the whole shipping pipeline, from sorting to stamping, from routing to packing to fuel allocation and bulk delivery efficiencies. She knew her way around a warehouse, a transport ship, and a guild checkpoint, and she knew what the wilds needed. She understood the political landscape. Of all the cousins, she was the one to turn Dom Lunim's. Dom Lunim, that's a terrible name, very tongue-twistery. But he turned away after her gender transition. Inheritance passes down through the male line every other generation. That's the way the Crescent Moon has always been run. Regardless of Baz's talent, Dom Lunum made it clear that the rules would be adhered to, so Baz chose to leave. All right. Yo, Hunter, you just resubscribed on Twitch, but I'm not on Twitch. I mean, I appreciate you, buddy, but we're not streaming to Twitch tonight. But you know I love you. You my boy. Discount Vash the Stampede. Let me see. Hang on a second. Doxing when you give away information that isn't publicly available. Smash's info is publicly available. It's still scummy. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, that's where I don't like to get into the actual nitty gritty of it, you know? Oh no, Hunter, dude, I appreciate you. It's just funny because I'm looking at like, oh, he resubscribed on Twitch. Wait a second, I'm not on Twitch tonight. We'll be back on Friday night though. You'll get to see your little shiny badge on there. Fidget cut Trigon. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Oblivion, but I'll just take your word for it. But yeah, so here's her little sob story, his little sob story, because most qualified, best at his, her, / they, them's job. But apparently because every other generation, it jumps to the male heir, this person was robbed of their inheritance or position due to their transition. Okay? I don't know who Vash is. I'm thinking Vosh, like Vosh with a U. Budget cut Trigon. I don't know who that is. I don't know. You guys have to tell me later. Yeah, so Concord, this character here, there are so many things wrong with the character, but this dude here, Sungrand Studios, his videos, guys, are blowing up. He did this one a couple days back on the problem with, let me see, where's his videos at? This one here, 4 days ago. Character designer breaks down, fixes Concord character designs. This video is at 334,000 views. And all he did was very respectfully go through and actually take apart, piece by piece, every one of the characters and point out the problem with the tone, the problem with the lighting, the problem with the color schemes, why the characters are boring. Absolutely bonkers, right? Look up Vash in an image search. I'll have to, hang on. 29 watching, 18 likes. Hey, if I get 1 like, that's more likes than I probably deserve. Come on. MVPs like the stream before they enter the chat. You know, I gotta admit, it is funny because I still watch a lot of bigger content creators, and the minute that I start watching, I have to see if I'm the first comment. You got recommended him today. Dude, good stuff. Like, honestly, he's got really good stuff. Yeah, Hunter, just let me know. I was messing around with Streamlabs. There's a, just like freaking StreamYard that everybody, like practically all the other like Words of Paradise, Moxie Dame, all of them use. Streamlabs has a like a guest invite button thing that I can send you. So we could test it out at some point before we actually stream. Then you can just send you a link and you could hop in, or if Richie's available. I know Richie's been asking me to do like a stream with him, so. Vash the Stampede is the man with a 60, is that trillion? I'm having a hard time reading $60 billion bounty on his head. I don't get any of these references, so I'm gonna have to look at that later on. Only what they got is some gender identity issues. Nobody cares about such BS and character stories. Yeah, okay, so again, there's nothing that makes them interesting. And so he did this video here breaking down, and I'll go back to this part here, 30 minutes and 26 seconds. We'll go back to that in a second. But he compares a lot of the actual characters from Overwatch with characters in Concord. And of course, I don't know that he knew that this character here was supposed to be a man. Actually, in his video, he breaks down that the physical proportions are very realistic, where you have thicker thighs and calf muscles and all that than this character here on the right. But which one's more pleasing to look at? Which one? Hang on, let me go. There we go. Now we can actually kind of see these. Again, as far as characters that are actually pleasing to look at, this one here on the right, no question. Better looking face. The symmetry as far as like pointing down to her eyes, the color schemes, the different tones, you know, actually cool looking character, somebody that you'd want to play. And again, he never attacks the developers themselves. Like I would say this game looks like woke shit. He doesn't use those words. So he's been very respectful in his breakdown, comparing very similar characters from Overwatch to, again, this piece of shit, Concord. And it's like night and day when you compare these characters. And Overwatch is a game that personally I would never play. I've looked at it, I've watched people play it. It doesn't seem competitive enough, in my opinion. And I'm sure people would say, oh, you're an idiot. What are you talking about? But I'm talking like on the level of like an Apex Legends or Call of Duty, or even games that I prefer like Insurgency, Sandstorm, or Hell Let Loose, those kind of games. It just doesn't seem to be a play style that I would really get into. But again, if you just look at the characters for what they are, there's nothing interesting about the characters from Concord. They are very generic and very boring looking. Hang on a second, where are we at here? We can get farmed in Insurgency or something. Oh, hell yeah, I'd play some Insurgency. Oh, exactly. Compare that with the female new character from the first Descendant, right? Okay, so NS, that's the thing. It's not the fact that they're dark skinned. It's not the fact that they're, female. It's not the fact that they want to have pronouns. Oh, Insurgency Sandstorm is the GOAT. That is one of my go-to. If I got half an hour to kill, and I'm not currently playing Black Myth Wukong, obviously, which that's kind of taking up all my game time right now. If my wife isn't quite ready for bed, she's working in the other room, I'm like, all right, I'm playing some Insurgency, putting some music on my headphones, and just doing that shit for like an hour. That's kind of how I unwind. It's a fantastic game. Not Managed Creeps. Yeah, exactly, TV. So I just want to play the audio from this. Let me make sure that I've got YouTube unmuted. Because I think what he says right here, in like about 20 seconds, kind of sums up all of the issues with the criticisms or the inability to criticize games without being called a bigot.
It's worth $3. In my previous video about the Concord character designs, there was like 3 comments from people that said that I have no understanding of color or tone or character design. And they said that I didn't know what I was talking about. And so it's so important to listen to people who disagree with you. If people do not agree with you, if they have a different perspective, you cannot afford to drown them out. You cannot just cover your ears and say, I'm not listening to you. Because we've seen what happens if you do that. So when people say that you are wrong, you need to listen. You need to try to understand someone else's perspective. And so when someone leaves negative comments and says, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about, I read their comment, I try to understand what they're saying, and then I ask myself, is this person right? Let me check if they could possibly be right, because maybe they are right, maybe I am wrong. And it is important to do that. So, to show you...
Again, that right there, from somebody, this guy, so a little bit of backstory on him. He does work for a game studio. I don't know if it's like his studio or if he works for another company, but it's a smaller studio. They do like mobile game development, that kind of stuff. This man is a photographer. From what I can see on his YouTube channel, it looks like he also is a musician. So he's been a photographer for 20 plus years. He understands composition. He's a designer. He's an artist. He's a developer. He's the guy that you should go to. He even said in this video here, somebody asked him, would you work for Sony? And he's like, would I work for Sony as a consultant? No, not unless I got a 12-month retainer, which is my minimum. And if I believed that they were going to treat me appropriately, which again, the reality is he's like, they're a scummy company who treats everybody like cattle and they don't care about their consumers. So, I mean, yeah, Neverland, this guy's awesome. I just subscribed to him when I found him a couple days ago. But again, the level of knowledge this man has, if other developers, and again, we see this all the time from people who are like, oh, the developers at Firewalk, they were working on this game for 8 years. Tell me how you can spend 8 years creating a character that looks like this here on the left. 8 years of your life down the drain, in my personal opinion, because this is just wasted time. My daughter is 9 years old. She is, I would say, going to be a gifted artist one day. I'm not just saying that because I'm her dad. The girl has legitimate artistic talent. She can whip things up on the iPad. She can color with pencils, with, crayon, marker, paint, whatever. And she can make, she's gotten into like doing chibi art, and she wants to study like how to properly draw people and all that. She could probably make something in the next 3 years in less than a handful of days that is better looking than this thing over here on the left. So it's not just about like, diversity and inclusion and shit like that. The very character itself, it's not just that the character is ugly, it's that they don't understand basic design. And again, he does this with all the characters in the videos, comparing, again, and I'm not a big fan of Overwatch, like I said, and I know Overwatch has had some issues where they've made the characters' asses smaller and stuff to try to desexualize the game. But compare this character here to this one, it doesn't even, this one here doesn't even stack up. Again, this game was never going to succeed. It's not just that. Oh, I appreciate it, NS. No, dude, my kids are awesome. They all have their own strengths and they all have their own struggles, but they're all awesome. Start getting her into manga one of these days. She actually, I think she's picked up books from the library because my kids are those nerds. that actually still go to the library. Sorry guys, I'm roasting here. My kids still go to the libraries and pick up books. My daughter she's not even 10 yet, right? She's 9.5. She's already burned through the entire Chronicles of Narnia series, or at least like halfway through it. She's read all the Harry Potter books. I'm trying to get her to read The Hobbit, but she doesn't want to. She's all like, yeah, the tracer butt pose thing has been flattened. So no, she's like super artistic, very much into reading and creativity and all that. My oldest kid, he's the sports junkie, you know? Takes effort to go for a look that homely. Yeah. No, it's intentional. It is 100% intentional. And again, he picked characters not knowing. The funny thing, you guys go watch his videos. Let me make sure to link him. I'm gonna drop his channel link down below. Hang on a second, because the man honestly deserves it. He's awesome. Again, I just started recently watching his stuff, but he's really good. So I'm gonna put his in the chat here. Hang on a sec. I spent a lot of time when I was younger at the library, but that was before we all had high-speed internet and phones that are basically computers in our pockets, you know? That was kind of the situation when I was a kid, especially as a teenager. Oh, yeah. Let me link Moxie's channel. Hang on a second. I'd say I should probably do that. One of these days, I will figure out how to properly mod everything and have everything on a quick button or whatnot. I've only been doing this shit for 5 years. You'd think I'd have it figured out by now. Yeah, fight me verbally. Good stuff. All right. So again, Haley, who I believe, it's a Twitter account I follow, I believe she was actually involved with 343 Studios or some part of the development of Halo. Either that or she's just a super fan, okay? So again, don't take my word for it. I don't necessarily know for sure what she does. All I know is she spends a lot of time talking about Halo. She put out this tweet earlier, and I just had to save it because I'm like, this is so crazy when you look at the actual poll results. Let me refresh this, in fact. Her tweet says, which of these do you believe is the most essential in making a video game character appealing? To me, a character's appearance is everything. It's the very first thing that captures our attention. If I'm drawn to a character right away, I'm much more inclined to immerse myself in the game. There's been a wave of passionate discussion surrounding video game characters lately, from the stunningly designed characters in Stellar Blade and First Descendant to the repulsive, less visually appealing, ugly-ass clown characters in Play Concord, so I thought this would be a good poll. With 863 votes, character appearance is the #1 most important thing at 62%. Personality is at 16.9%, backstory is at 18%, other is down at like 3%. So again, majority of people look at this and say the #1 most important thing for how you're going to play, or what's going to get you into playing a game, is the actual appearance of the characters themselves. And that's the thing, is we always say, you know, NS, I think I shared her link. Did it not go through? I can link it again if you need me to. Hang on a sec. Let me know if that actually works. I'm sorry, it looks like it's taking you the long way around. It should have just gone to @Moxie Dame. I don't know. I'm kind of retarded, not gonna lie. All right, so what are we up to now? Oh my god, the Acolyte. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this screen now, so you don't have to look at all my tabs. I got like 30 of these things open. Ginger's got to stick together. I've got ginger. I've got ginger hair. I've got some red hair in my beard, like my dog. My dog is a black poodle mix with tiny bit of red hair in his mustache. It worked the first time? Okay, cool. I wasn't sure, but yeah, so in a couple weeks, I won't be here on Monday night. We will be over at Moxie's channel. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. I'm kind of going to go in cold turkey. It'll be the first time I've been a guest on anybody's show. So that'll be kind of cool. I just get to sit back and look pretty and not have to do anything. Problem is, looking pretty is going to be a lot harder than it looks. I'm going to have to like actually be presentable that night. Maybe I'll like dress up, wear a suit and tie. One of us, exactly. So this has been pretty interesting to watch. You got Forbes, Paul Tassi. Paul Tassi again, shilling for the Acolyte, the Crapolite, one of the worst things to ever come out on TV. Again, the dude that has been pushing so hard for freaking Concord and Suicide Squad to get people to even give it a shot, right? I think Paul Tassi has me blocked on Twitter also. I wouldn't be surprised if I went and checked. I'm pretty sure he's got me blocked. In fact, let me see here. Hang on a second. No, not that. That. What are you doing? I don't want the Wayback Machine. Oh, it's because I have this archived. Okay. Cringe, funnies, crazies, misconnections. No suits. That's okay. I don't own a suit. I have a sports coat, like a nice, like, not quite suit jacket that I got like 20 years ago, maybe almost 20 years ago. It's the only suit jacket I've ever owned. Cosplay is my favorite Concord character. No. If I did that, I'd have to do blackface, and I'm pretty sure that that's not allowed on YouTube. Yeah, Paul Tassi he's too busy huffing his own farts, personally. That's just kind of his problem. So he says, the Acolyte continues to be one of the most significant sagas of the Disney Star Wars era. Full stop. Just read that right there, okay? The Acolyte continues to be one of the most significant sagas of the Disney Star Wars era. Given the push and pull of fans and detractors of the show, plus Disney spending insane amounts of money on it compared to the viewership it would ever possibly draw. It was canceled after season 1, but now there may be at least some small glimmer of hope for season 2. Okay. Newsflash. There will not be a second season of this show. It's not happening. Full tuxedo? Well, I don't own a tuxedo either, so you're going to get this. I'll have one of my 3 black shirts on, probably. What? You know, I have to base what shirt I wear by what hat I want to wear that night. If it's one of, like, my green, like, olive green hats, I can't really wear... Well, I could wear black, but I have to wear a certain color shirt for a certain color hat. I don't know. You wear suits every day in the office? Oof. Alequiz, I go in my sweatpants in the winter to work. In the summertime, I'll sometimes wear a tank top and shorts if it gets too hot. This is one of the... Birthday suit. This is YouTube, not OnlyFans, okay? Besides, I have to work out a lot more to even think about that. Not happening. No one owns it. Hey, some people own tuxedos. Not me. Rich people. NS, the thing is, the people who were obsessed with this show, the shippers who just wanted to see the main character fall for the bad guy and make the bad guy the hero. And dude, honestly, the amount of simping for Manny Jacinto, however you say his freaking name, in this show by the people who are like thirsty for him. First off, I'm sorry, this man is incredibly soy. Don't get me wrong. Look at this man's face. This dude is unfreaking believably soy. Okay? Like, unreal amounts of soy. And the only thing that, like, freaking Alyssa Mercante, going back to Mercante, Mr. Modest, I'm a little modest. You know, all she could talk about was, oh my god, his arms make me horny. Like, honest to God, this woman was obsessed with Manny Jacinto from this show. The dude isn't even that good looking. He's all right looking. He's not ugly. But he's soy. He's the acceptable, what do they call it? Safe horny? I think it's that safe horny thing. Dressed like a Peaky Blinder. I gotta be a Peaky Blinder. Problem is I haven't done an Irish accent in a while, and my Irish ancestry would definitely be, it would be very disrespectful if I tried to speak like an Irishman at this point. All right, Moxie, take it easy. Big collab stream suggestion would be Wagner Knows Why, Dread Roberts, Kilted Cajun. Dude, I love Dread Roberts. I messaged him a while back. We're going to try to figure something out once he gets moved to Korea and gets his life settled. He just had a baby. He's been busy. So that dude is like... if she saw your arm, she'd slide out of her chair. No, but see, the thing, Boosh, is that it has to be the right kind of, I'd say, feminized masculinity to be appealing to Alyssa Mercante, because it has to be that non-white, non-traditional, heterosexual, masculine type of male. That's why I say, the man's soy. That's why she had the hots for him, you know? Full Irish? I can't do that. My Irish is lacking. Let me see here. The Almighty tells me he can get me out of this mess, but he's pretty sure you're fucked. God, Braveheart's such a great movie. Braveheart, top 5 movies of all time. Right up there with Lord of the Rings and, I'm trying to think of a war movie that's up there with, like, Lord of the Rings and Braveheart. I don't know. We'll consider the Irish accent. I gotta be in the right mood. Maybe, I don't drink, but maybe if I had, like, a drink before the stream or something, that'd loosen me up a little bit. I drink a lot of caffeine, I'll tell you that. He's seen your beefy arms, they're bigger than his head. I'll have to ask him about that sometimes. Guy has to be placed in the appropriate context. Yeah, well, in this situation, dude, okay. We all know that traditionally, and I'm not going to say it's right or wrong, you know? An Irish golem. No, I can barely do golem as it is. I'm not doing Irish golem. There's a certain element of, like, it's always been the woman seduces the man, right? Whether it's by how she dresses, whether it's in a situation where he's put in a, you know, you say any guy in the situation wouldn't be able to resist himself, whatever. They tried to flip that entire narrative on its head for the Acolyte, because they had the scene where he comes out of the water naked, right? And she's all like staring down at his junk and all that. And she came from a planet full of lesbians. So she's like, oh, what's this, you know? So they tried to make him the woman the entire time. Then they also tried to make him the quote-unquote hero of the show by making the Jedi evil. So it's like, essentially, they made him the, you know, anti-hero woman of the show. Like, he was the seductress. He was the villain, but the hero. Guy does an amazing golem. It's not amazing. It's passable. My Elmo's a lot better. I'm just not in the mood to do Elmo tonight. I'll give you guys Elmo at some point, and then you'll probably all unsubscribe and never talk to me again. But we'll do Elmo a different night. So now we have Manny Jacinto coming out saying that his career aspiration, his wish, essentially, when somebody asked him what his career goal and life goal is, he responded with a heartfelt desire that resonated with many in the audience. He wants to see The Acolyte Season 2. And of course, it was met with enthusiastic applause, highlighting the strong connection both he and fans have developed with the series. And of course, Collider breaks into how the series was bombarded by toxic hate by misogynists and bigots and blah, 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 blah. The usual crap you see. The power of many! Yeah, the words were misunderstood. That throbbing scene flashback. Dude, I didn't see Desparu's in any of his stuff about the Acolyte. The last video I watched of his, and I hate that I haven't been keeping up with his content, was his breakdown of like the Willow finale. Because that show was such dog shit. Oh my god. Probably, even if I had watched The Acolyte, I would still say that Willow was the worst TV show I've ever seen. If you guys haven't seen Willow, you never will. Because the fact of the matter is, yeah, no, I didn't have to see any of the throbbing lightsabers or any of that kind of stuff. None of that. So now they have this petition going around where they're trying to bring back Season 2 of The Acolyte, trying to make it happen, right? The petition is currently at like 65,000 signatures. Now, here's the funniest shit. There's a counter petition going on that I just saw started today, and it is the funniest shit ever. So I saw Yellow Flash had tweeted this out, yesterday. It's to decanonize the Acolyte from Star Wars, all right? It's like a literal flashbang. Oh my god. Okay, I'll have to look up his video later and watch it. I watched the Willow breakdown with my wife, and she was dying laughing. Despar is so good. Very, very funny guy. And so they're trying to get this petition going to get trending and actually, you know, force Star Wars or Disney to, quote, decanonize the Acolyte. And the funny thing is, I said, I don't even care at this point. I'm just signing it for shits and giggles because I truly believe Disney Star Wars is dead. I don't want to say Star Wars is dead, given the fact that I love the extended universe. I love the original Star Wars movies. I love all the Star Wars games I grew up playing, all my, you know, toys I grew up with. I mean, there's nothing Star Wars from my childhood that I'm going to be like, oh, it's dead. I'm done, whatever. Hey, you signed the petition. Good job. Yeah, everybody, I'll link it. Let me find the petition. I'll link it in the chat. You guys need to go sign it because it is so good. And I haven't updated yet to see what the signatures are up to. When we refresh the page, it'll be really interesting to see. So here is the petition to decanonize the Acolyte. And again, it's for humor's sake. But the response from the butthurt people down here are like, true weirdo behavior. Oh, so you do care. Jesus. It's like, guys, I literally said I'm signing it for shits and giggles. Your response is the reason I'm signing it, because so many of these people have been like, it's our Star Wars now, die mad about it, cry harder, cope harder. They've all been saying this ever since The Acolyte came out, and it's been shitting all over Star Wars, shitting all over Star Wars fans, basically telling people it's not your franchise anymore, it's no longer for bigots and all this stuff. And that's literally, they're like, they don't even care if it's good, they're happy that it pissed everybody else off. So now that the shoe is on the other foot and their show got canceled, they're all salty about it. Dude, I'm telling you, it's going to blow up. Okay? We're up to 12,662 signatures. 5,500 people have signed it today. I'm going to keep sharing this on Twitter because I'm like, dude, in all honesty, I don't care if this never has any effect. It doesn't matter. The point is simply to show them, as many people are trying to, you know, make the season 2 of that Acolyte thing happen, there are far more of us who are like, no, let's just make this thing not happen at all. Let's just pretend it never happened. Dude, I've been hoping beyond hope that Star Wars was going to get sold for a long time. But honestly, at this point, does it even matter? Look, my childhood dreams growing up in the original trilogy was to eventually see Han, Luke, and Leia, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, oh, thanks, Desert, appreciate it. Carrie Fisher, all these guys come back and make movies that were somewhat loosely based on the extended universe, the Thrawn trilogy, get Mara Jade in there and all that. That's what I hoped for as a kid. That's what I really, really, truly wanted. The time for that has come and gone. They're all in their 80s, 70s, or passed away. So it doesn't really even matter at this point if Star Wars is quote-unquote dead or if they decanonize it, because the time for sequels and continuing the story is over. Essentially, we were given a little breath of fresh air with the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, and then season 3 happened, freaking Book of Boba Fett happened, Ahsoka happened, Obi-Wan happened, The Acolyte. And again, I thought Andor was probably the best quality show out of all of them, but it was also the least like Star Wars. So it is what it is, guys. I don't care if they decanonize it or not. All right, so we're going to briefly touch on the Rings of Power real quick, and then we'll wrap it up, because there's not really a whole lot here to talk about. But the Mary Sue thinks that this is all fantastic, and I don't know if any of you guys are even keeping up with the Rings of Power. Hey, it's in the generic guide. I could just call Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill ladies. They practically are. I mean, really. They're going to race swap Mara Jade to black because she's a redhead. Also, because if they did Mark Hamill doing like deep fake of young Luke Skywalker, they'd have to get a black woman because he wouldn't probably want to work with a white woman at this point. He'd probably think, he has to be progressive. The dude is legit insane. Mark Hamill has lost his damn mind. So Rings of Power, I have made it through 1.5 episodes. I don't know that I can continue at this point. And I sat through the entire first season. I left a negative review on Amazon, and here I am like 2 years later, however long it's been, 1.5 years, and they disabled my ability to leave reviews on Amazon products for like the last year. I have been unable to review Amazon products because I left a negative review on this show. I shit you not. It is the only thing I reviewed before they locked my ability to leave reviews. I've tried to get my ability to leave reviews unlocked for like the last 1.5 years to no avail. I cannot get my ability to review back. It is the most crazy shit ever, okay? But Geeky Sparkles always says, yeah, well, dude, she's got skin in the game being a redhead, so I don't fault her one bit. Speaking of which, I'm excited. I got they did the re-release of their first couple of books they did. What did I say, Blithian? I'm getting tired now. Best offensive joke you heard was Hollywood has a dyslexic person hiring new talent who mixes up gingers with, yeah. Oh, pretty much, yeah. So, you're talking about the Amazon thing. Yeah, no, legit, dude, that was the last thing I was able to review. And ever since then, they said that there was suspicious activity on my account. Okay, I have flagged them on Twitter. I have called them. I have talked to 3 different people over the last year at customer service. I have emailed their customer care support, their community help, whatever. No responses, nothing fixed. Nobody has done anything to get my ability to leave reviews back. And I have still spent money with Amazon since then. Depending on the year, it could be thousands of dollars, right? Oh, dude, Alequiz, mine wasn't even bad. Here's what happened. They removed mine the first time, but here's what happened. After they removed it the first time, I reviewed it again and left another negative review, okay? So after the second review, they disabled my ability to leave reviews. And I didn't use any like foul language. I didn't say like F this or this is, gay, or I didn't say any of the bigoted words. But because of the fact that I left a second negative review after they deleted my first one, I was like, you guys deleted my first review. This is not okay. I spent the time watching this. I was not happy with it. You guys wasted my time, essentially. Since then, I can't review a single freaking product in Amazon. Yeah, most people watch 20 minutes and noped out. I have a friend, she's a Twitch streamer, and I've known her for like 4 years. And she had asked me if I saw it because she knew I was a big Lord of the Rings fan. I'm like, yeah, I'm working my way through it. I'm not a fan. It's not canon. It's pretty boring. The characters are generic. They're crap. And I asked her if she'd actually watched it, and she's like, yeah, I watched the first episode, and then she quit because she was bored, you know? Yeah, that's the first problem. But, you know, NS, the thing is, like I said, go back 2 years. I mean, yeah, okay, we all lived through 2020 when things were crazy. You know, COVID and, you know, free speech suppression and all the crap we saw on social media and YouTube and everything else. Even that being said, I didn't even realize a couple of years ago how heavily invested these companies were in pushing the quote-unquote message, you know? Oblivion, my wife made me watch the first 4 episodes of Willow. We got to the beginning of the 5th episode. It opened with a girl band doing like a remix of a rock song with them running through the forest with these horrible looking, you know, monsters chasing them with the crappy music. And I'm like, okay, honey, I got to turn it off. I can't watch anymore. You watched the 3-episode premiere with a friend. You didn't watch it again. So I didn't realize that it was going to be another 3-episode premiere this time. So the first night it was out, we didn't even get around to watching it. We watched the first episode a couple nights ago, and last night we put on the second episode at like 11 o'clock. I'm like, you know what? We can fall asleep to this. And sure enough, half an hour in, I'm like, I'm done. I can't do it. Oh, Oblivion, Willow? That piece of shit was the worst show I'd ever seen. And the funny thing is, they kept mixing in, like, they had a Metallica cover. They had all sorts of, like, metal bands that they had girl bands covering every single one of them. The show was blatant when it came to their desire to, you know, make it for female audience only. They didn't want a male audience. That, and they made a Laura Dannon a complete, like, blonde idiot bimbo. Willow was completely ineffective and worthless. He was a creep and a liar. He basically abducted a Laura Dannon at one point. Mad Mardigan, because Val Kilmer can't physically do the role anymore, they decided to write him off as basically like an absentee father. They just completely butchered the show. Absolutely ruined the story. So since then, Rings of Power doesn't look as bad. It's just boring, is the biggest problem. So Rings of Power, Mary Sue says, it just gave us the origin story we wanted, and it's perfect. I'll summarize. If nobody here cares about spoilers from Rings of Power Season 2, it starts off with a flashback. Morgoth has been defeated. So, okay, they can't really talk too much about details because there's certain amounts that they're not allowed to work with from the Second Age. But Morgoth has been defeated. Sauron wants to take over. He's got Adar, the first orc elf person, who's in charge of all the orcs, and Sauron's like, no, you guys are going to follow me now. They stab him in the back, kill him. He turns into black goo, wiggles his way out of his own body after it explodes, down into the rocks and the crevices under the mountain, falls into a puddle, absorbs a rat, and slowly crawls along in this puddle of a person, eating bugs and shit, till it finally, like, somersaults out the side of a mountain, slides down the mountain like a freaking slug, crawls onto a wagon and absorbs a person, and then once it eats the person, it turns back into Halbrand here. That's how the freaking Season 2 opens, explaining that Sauron, when he was going to take over after Morgoth left, gets stabbed in the back by this orc person and turns into a pile of black goo. They make Sauron the most pathetic, worthless, piece of shit villain to ever exist. And then they try to make you relate to him. They try to make him like the sexy, smoldering, like, again, like Manny Jacinto from The Acolyte. Galadriel in Season 2 is as boring as ever, and she's like connected to him somehow through some deep, dark magic, right? He wanted a Breaking Bad version of Sauron. Yeah. So Sauron is a completely worthless, ineffective, powerless bitch in the second season. He gets captured again in the first episode, beginning of the second episode. I can't remember which one it happens. First episode. He gets captured again by the orcs and Adar, and he fakes, I guess, swearing allegiance to Adar so they'll release him so he can go back to Celebrimbor and try to convince him to make the rings or whatever. I don't know. I haven't gotten to that part of the story. I don't know why he's went back to Eregion with Celebrimbor. But, yeah, they torture him, and he's powerless and ineffective. It's like, dude, I get it. Sauron's power really reached its peak, essentially, once he crafted the ring. But before the ring, right after the fall of Morgoth, Sauron still had power. He would never have gotten, beat down and butchered by a pack of orcs, Galadriel, she still sucks. Morfydd Clark is a terrible actress. And she does this thing when she speaks. I don't know if it's because I think is she Norwegian or Swedish or whatever? I don't think she's a native English speaker. She does this thing with her mouth where she like chews on her words when she speaks. And it is unbelievably annoying to the point where it's like, I'm watching her speak and I'm cringing the whole time. Wicked, Cruella, and Maleficent were all dumb. Let's try it with the dude. Bush. Sorry, not Bush. Bush. Dude, this is a thing that I've been talking about for years. Think about the last time, guys. I know a lot of us here are adults, and some of us don't have kids, I'm sure. So I don't know how many of you guys have watched like a current Disney cartoon or computer-generated Pixar type film. The last great villains in these cartoon movies by Disney were made back in like the late or early 2000s. If you realize that there's a trend with Disney movies in general, or content that's geared for children, they are no longer making villains that they want you to hate and despise. They want you to sympathize with the villains. There's this trend in all media, it goes from children's media all the way up to like this Star Wars dog shit, or Rings of Power, where they want you to empathize with the bad guy and identify with the bad guy instead of the traditional hero. Okay? It's completely like bonkers when you start thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I grew up watching, Hunchback of Notre Dame, where the dude gets yeeted off the side of the cathedral and gets taken to hell basically at the end of it. Like the dude is an evil bastard and he dies a terrible death. These were real villains back when I was a kid, you know? Oh, appreciate you guys. No, but for real, so all of this modern crap where they're trying to like rewrite Lord of the Rings, they're trying to like make the orcs sympathetic, make Sauron he's like the misunderstood bad guy, you know? Forced behavior completely. Yeah, Smeg, the thing is, it has to eventually hurt them enough financially for them to stop, you know? So you have them saying here on the Mary Sue, one of the biggest questions going into Rings of Power Season 1 was the identity of Sauron. You see, Sauron was known to be a shapeshifter. Before being corrupted by Morgoth, Sauron was a Maiar, a race of angelic beings to which even the wizards like Saruman and Gandalf and the Balrogs belonged to. Okay, but technically not the same type of whatever, but fine. So he had already had a lot of power. He was a skilled sorcerer who could shapeshift into anyone. When the stranger arrived in a fiery meteor to Middle-earth and was called Sauron by the three evil-looking witches trailing him, it wasn't a stretch to assume that Sauron could have lost his memory from being displaced after the defeat of Morgoth. So here's what they're running with for the show. They won't say the name Gandalf because I don't think they're allowed to. But Gandalf has no memory. He has no power. He's a wandering old weirdo who in the first season couldn't speak until like the final episode. Sauron, they're saying, might have lost his memory also. So he doesn't know he's Sauron. I can't even with these people. Again, it's just making shit up. And it's not even good fan fiction, okay? Oh, when Galadriel hears Celebrimbor propose forging rings, using the exact words that Adar had attributed to Sauron, she grows suspicious. No, but she still goes along with it. And dude, the funniest part is that they don't even address the fact that her husband is not anywhere to be seen. They don't mention what could have happened to him. They don't talk about where he is, why he's not there. All they do is try to create this weird sexual tension between her and the dude that plays Sauron, and it is so freaking awful to watch. World War II? What's World War II? Yeah, but like I said, it's not even good fan fiction. It's bad fan fiction. It's terrible. Like I've said before, Shadows of Mordor, they made Shelob a sexy goth woman. They made Celebrimbor like this edgelord ghost dude who's inhabiting your body, and they made Talion, I think that's his name, the protagonist of the game, into the 9th ring wraith at the end of the second game. And those games are fantastic. Like the story's great. It's not canon at all. It's completely like a weird retcon kind of situation, but it all works because it's done well, you know? The funny thing, NS, is people attribute that quote to Tolkien. He has a quote that's similar. It's not those exact words. It's kind of like the summarized version. It's because it's one of the books, one of the writings that he had talking about the orcs and the fact that they essentially cannot, or might have been talking about Morgoth, I can't remember. Essentially, all they can do is create a mockery of life. The quote is essentially the same, but it's funny because people always attribute it to that. But yeah, it's very much the same kind of quote. Oh, dude, Shadows of Mordor, even Shadows of War, both games were fantastic. Of course, Eric Kane. And here's the funny thing. Eric Kane, who works at Forbes, is like the only decent journalist left on this planet. He hates The Acolyte. He hates Rings of Power. And it's not because he's like some alt-right conservative. This man a few days ago said he's voting for Kamala Harris because she's like the only sane option. Again, I wouldn't agree with this man on anything politically, you know? But he still points out the flaws when it comes to entertainment, you know? Oh, I don't care, Bush. You're good. No worries. Dude, I don't get triggered by that kind of shit. You're here hanging out. You can say whatever you want to within reason. Okay, so Aura, the thing about orcs, there's a lot of mixed lore on how they were created. I read through the Silmarillion not too long back, and essentially what happened is when Morgoth was causing trouble in Middle-earth, just kind of hanging out after a lot of the battles and fights with him and the Valar, when elves would get captured by orcs, or some of them would get plucked if like they wander too far from a settlement or whatever, Morgoth would torture them, corrupt them, and essentially turn them into orcs. That's one version of the story. The problem is Tolkien retconned a lot of what he did so many times. There's writings where he tried to say that orcs were always there, that they weren't always evil, or that if they were evil, they weren't beyond redemption. The issue we have is that the only way we've seen orcs really portrayed in the Lord of the Rings books and The Hobbit, which are his writings. I mean, look, the Silmarillion isn't really a finished book. Same with like the Unfinished Tales and a lot of the other things. A lot of them have conflicting stories. So if you're going off what Tolkien has written, the only definitive description of orcs is that they are evil and they must all be killed. I mean, they are not redeemable at all. Tolkien had never made his mind up on whether or not they were evil from birth, if they were born, or if they were created, or if they were elves, or if they were always existing and elves were just turned into orcs. You know, there's a lot of back and forth about it. There's a lot of those. So yeah, I mean, essentially, yes, he has writings that say that orcs are corrupted elves, but again, there's a lot of back and forth about it. Blue-haired chicken Gondor advocating for stop discrimination against orcs. Yeah. That's kind of the world we're living in now. Unfortunately, that's the modern era that exists. So Eric Kane had his review of season 2, and it just absolutely destroys the show. Basically, everything that I've talked about, it's soulless, it's empty. There's no heart, there's no cohesion. The sets are terrible, guys. If you watch this with the knowledge that they spent close to $1 billion on the first 2 seasons of this show, and then you see the costumes, you see the sets, you see just all the backgrounds, everything. It looks like something you could have done for a couple million total. And I'm not even kidding. I'm not making that shit up. The rings look terrible. The backdrops look terrible. The sets are awful. A lot of the armor is all right, but then some of the costumes, they look like costumes. They don't look actual clothing that would have been worn. It's just all bad. And I cannot believe that they spent like $650 million just for the first 2 seasons of this. And they're signed on for like 5 seasons, guys. I don't know how the hell they're going to do that. But again, they keep teasing these little Easter eggs, like the guy that they haven't named Gandalf. Oh, he's going to be Gandalf. He's an Istari, you know, or an Istar. He's one of the wizards. Yeah, dude, there's this freaking evil wizard that's hanging around. They got this dude wearing like a steampunk mask following Gandalf. This entire thing is it's schlop. It is so bad. But yeah, Eric Kane, he goes out there and points this shit out, and he's got people attacking him, calling him like a right-winger. And like I told you, this guy's over here. This guy's like, you get triggered like by a TV show like a little bitch, effing snowflake, F you piece of shit. Like, these are people who probably vote for the same person he's voting for, but because he disagrees with them on the Acolyte and on Rings of Power, they are in his DMs going after him. These people are insane. This is why everything sucks these days. It's like 60 million an episode. Break it down by minute. These episodes range from like 1 hour and 7 minutes to 57 minutes. So if you average them all at an hour, 60 million an episode, that's like $1 million a minute. Well, they're not going to cancel. Obviously, the second season's filmed. They're not canceling anything. But the question is, are they going to actually spend the money on it? No, it's not Saruman. It is I think that it's one of the Blue Wizards, because the Blue Wizards, Tolkien never really talked about. Remember, the Blue Wizards they mention in Lord of the Rings. Gandalf has like a memory of them, but he doesn't quite know who they are, what their names are. He can't remember, I think, is what he says in Lord of the Rings. But I believe what I read is that this evil wizard that has, if you guys saw the promo stuff from the first season, the chick with the shaved head looks like Slim Shady, you know? She's back in the second season. She's tracking Gandalf. She's trying to catch, bring him to this evil wizard guy. I think he's supposed to be a blue wizard. Yeah, but it's not Saruman. It's some other character that they're just, because they have the latitude to do so, they're just, messing everything up. Oh, it's so exhausting, guys. I swear to God. Anyways, I appreciate you guys all for hanging. This has been a lot of fun. I think it's a little after 11 now. 10 after. But yeah, there will be a blame game. They will blame us. It is unavoidable. It is the way these things go. And it's unfortunate because, like, I tried to give it a chance. I tried to give it a fair shake. I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't know how bad, but I'm like, you know what? I love Lord of the Rings. I'll give it a shot. Oh, dude, it looks like Renaissance Festival shit. I'm not even kidding. There's, in the first episode, the scene where they're bringing Halbrand, Sauron as the human Halbrand, to the orc camp in chains to bring him to Adar to basically surrender or whatever. Just the backdrop. They show like some crumbled buildings, and it doesn't look like a building that once stood that has crumbled. It looks like they went and got a prop off a movie set or a stage, and then they just dropped it right there in place, They just walked off and nothing else was mentioned about him. Yeah. Now, dude, honestly, the thing is, like, they're just taking so many liberties with this show because they feel like they can, and because it's like, oh, there's so much of this story that's not been told. Well, stop telling it. Honest to God, you're not doing any favors. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna hit the hay. I appreciate all you guys for hanging. NS, thanks for the gifted memberships. I really appreciate it, dude. And of course, Words, if you're still here, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. I will be back on Friday night. We'll do some more Wukong. I'm actually still playing that game off stream. Also, I'm trying to get through it as fast as possible so we can switch games at some point on the live streams. But I'm still in Chapter 2, guys. Maybe we'll work our way to Chapter 3 on this next live stream on Friday night. But I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. I appreciate you all for hanging for so long. It has been fantastic. And I will see all of you guys on the next one, hopefully. Don't forget to go follow Moxie Dame. I will be on her channel, like I said, on the 23rd. We'll have some fun. That'll be a good one. And of course, in the meantime, just make sure you check out MetaPC's Instant Gaming has the giveaway link down below. And I'm out of here, guys.